Hi, I'm Tom from the School Musicals Company.
And I'm Matt from the School Musicals Company with our special t-shirts on, no expense spared.
And we're going to talk you through some bits of Sherlock and Cinders, which is our newest musical that I know a lot of you are staging this term or next term as a Leavers show. And hopefully we can provide some handy hints, some giggles.
Yes,
Matt's good with the giggles.
Yeah, we're going to listen to some little bits of the songs.
Right,
we're going to look at the script a little bit and the book. And just for those of you, just to remind, of course, most people know us for writing Pantastic, I would say, and Kissy Whittington and Who's Your Mummy? So this is, I think, our 7th or 8th main musical. Obviously, we've also written Christmas things. But
yeah. This one is a little bit different to any of the others in that we've taken two characters that are already much loved and treasured literary characters, and we've sort of thrown them into a bit of a mashup where Sherlock Holmes sort of enters into the world of Cinderella. And
are you allowed to do that? Is Sherlock Holmes allowed to enter into the world of Cinderella?
It's theatre.
It's theatre. Is it all make-believe?
Anything is allowed in theatre.
Right.
So in real life, people don't tend to sort of start singing and dancing either. But that's
They do in my world.
So it's a wonderful mashup of the two stories, really, and you know, Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson come along and they investigate for the prince the case of the sort of the missing person who nobody knows who she is, and we just want it to be really, really funny, really accessible, loads of parts for children. So hopefully you're finding that there is, you know, great breadth of characters, and that you're enjoying it so far, and the kids are enjoying it so far.
And from an age perspective, for people watching this who are still looking for their summer production or their Leavers production, this musical is perfect for Year 6, but you could also do it with Year 5 or it has scope to be staged by slightly older children as well. The main thing to say, it's a huge amount of fun, loads of humour. We think there are some of our best songs in there, so if you like our writing style,
some of our best gags as well.
Some of our best gags, the parents will be rolling in the aisles.
Yeah, trying to escape.
Yeah. Right, so let's have a look. Sherlock and Cinders. Where does it start? Where does the story start?
So it starts with it takes the sort of the story of Cinderella that everybody knows, and it puts it into one big song at the beginning, so that we can recap the events of the main Cinderella story and then move on into the made-up part of the story. So it starts with a big song called A Cinderella Story, which is a full ensemble number. So, you know, get everybody into it, as many children as you can fit onto the stage, and let them all sort of be involved from the beginning of the show, really. And
it's worth telling that I have a computer and a speaker here so that I can reach across. So don't think I'm disinterested, because I am very interested. I'm just reaching across. Tom also has a strategically placed piano.
I have a piano here that's not plugged in.
Not plugged in.
So when I start to do this, I'm just pretending.
There's also an electric guitar here, just to remind you that we play these
We
instruments.
actually do play these instruments properly, rather than just doing the whole thing on computer.
And actually, we record most things in this studio space. You can't see it, but there is a drum kit there. There's all of our recording equipment there.
Yeah.
Other things.
We've got Elton John just in that corner as well.
Elton John waiting. Yeah. Hold on, Elton. Not now. Later.
Yeah.
Okay.
David Bowie as well. Just noticed. Ooh. That's a bit
spooky,
isn't it?
What's he doing?
I don't know. David. Shh.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is the bit of the first song called A Cinderella Story.
Good scene setter. Let's set the scene for any show.
Some good clapping.
See if we can be in time.
You're late.
It's too fast.
Everybody knows the story we've been told many times before, of a girl who's left alone to sweep the floors at home, not to tend a ball. But then a fairy godmother appears to save the day, and a
You look like a chicken.
Nice big chorus.
It's a Cinderella story of a girl who needs a boy.
Yes, so then it goes into this instrumental bit so that Cinderella can go off stage and get into a ball gown to go to the ball, and the stage can be sort of reset as the palace, the castle, and then in she goes, and there's another verse about them being at the ball, and then she meets the prince and they dance, and there's a beautiful sort of little moment, hopefully not too awkward for children, should be fine. And then the bells start to go, the chimes of the clock I should say, and she has to run from the castle to avoid being turned into a pumpkin.
Who's turned into a pumpkin? Cinderella.
Sorry, to avoid her rags, turning back into rags.
Yes.
And then the song comes to an end really, and that's when the rest of the play starts. Then we go over to Sherlock Holmes in Baker Street, and he gets given, this case to find the missing person, which the prince wants to try and find.
Should we just read a little bit from that?
Yes.
For entertainment value. So when Sherlock and Watson first come in,
Right.
Sherlock, Watson.
Do you want to be the bumbling Dr. Watson?
I'll be Watson.
Okay,
Obviously,
great.
Lestrade is in there as well.
Mrs. Hudson.
So you
Mrs.
have
Hudson
to,
as well, the
and
housekeeper.
Mrs. Hudson. Okay. So you take Mrs. Hudson and Holmes. I'll be Watson and Lestrade.
Okay. Should we read the stage directions as well?
Read the stage directions as
Okay.
well. So where are we going to start from?
Top.
From the top.
Okay. This is Act 1, Scene 1. Sherlock and Watson are sat on chairs. There we are.
Right.
In their flat at 221B Baker Street. Sherlock is sitting, pipe in hand, studying Watson. No, I'm Sherlock. You're Watson. I was just
checking.
Just checking.
Just checking.
Unaware, Watson is writing in a notebook.
There.
This is me holding my pipe.
Okay.
Watson, you're a medical man. Did you know you spend 10% of the day blinking?
Do I, Holmes? Well, I've had conjunctivitis recently. Perhaps you caught me on a bad day.
Not just you. We all do. Think of everything we must miss. Thank you, Mrs. Hudson, and yes, a thin slice.
Why are you
Watson,
thanking
yes.
Mrs. Hudson when she's not even...
He stops as Mrs. Hudson enters sharply, carrying 2 cups. I thought you both might like a cup of tea. I'm sure she's from...
She Northern.
She Northern.
Okay.
I'm sure you've been hard at work all day.
Oh, thank you.
And I've just bought a cake from Borough Market. Would you both like a slice? Watson looks at Holmes, baffled as ever by his powers of deduction. His confusion is interrupted by a knock at the door. Now, who on earth can that be? It won't be a moment. She exits to answer the door. Inspector Lestrade and 5 of his finest. Excellent. This means business, Watson, and about time.
Oh, come on, Holmes. How can you possibly know how many others he's got with him? In fact, it might not even be him.
It's definitely him, for the precise reason that only he would arrive with 5 others.
And how do you know that there are 5 of them?
Footsteps can be very revealing. Inspector Lestrade enters, complete with 5 police officers, each carrying a large file stashed full of papers. Do you want to be
I'll be
Lestrade?
Lestrade. Don't get up. You'll need every single ounce of concentration if you're going to help me solve these cases.
I'm not sure the concentration is measured in ounces, but far away.
Right. Bucket. Let's have that first one.
Sergeant Bucket hands over the file, which Lestrade opens.
Oh, yes. Suspected robbery gone wrong. Man found dead in his own hallway. No sign of forced entry. Pockets empty apart from a wooden tee. Sand particles found in his trousers.
Interesting. Who found him?
Bucket?
His wife found him, sir. Poor woman. Absolutely beside herself. Quite pretty too, actually.
I don't care if she's Helen of Troy. Stick to the facts.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. I imagine she found him at the foot of the stairs, right? Yes, that's right. I thought as much. It was a sandwich. A sandwich? You mean he choked? No, he was tripped at the top of the stairs by his own golf club. Arrest the wife, Lestrade. She's gone from golfing widow to actual widow. What else have you got?
Right.
That's quite enough of that. Okay, right. How to follow that?
So then...
Should we have a song? Let's
have a song. What song should we have?
Why don't we have Call Sherlock? So Call Sherlock, then they take on the case, and then they travel through the streets of London in a hansom cab.
For anything that's totally unexplainable, for anything that's cryptic or unclear, whenever there's a puzzle that's unsolvable,
one. So there are some little answer vocals. So and there is an optional harmony with all of our songs and all of our shows. There are optional harmonies depending on the singing level of the children that you're working with. But all of the songs sound equally good without the harmonies. Yeah. So very, very flexible. That's one of the main things I'd say about our shows. And if you've read about them, you'll know that we also provide editable scripts. So we're not overly precious.
No.
We recognise that one size doesn't necessarily fit all.
I think,
and you have to make some changes.
And I think as well, once you've bought the show, you know, and having put on a lot of shows ourselves as well, once you have bought the show and you start to rehearse it, it becomes your show. Much more so than it becomes our show.
Yeah, very much so.
So, you know, what's great when we do get to come and watch shows, we love seeing the fact that they're all slightly different, which is not the same as somebody completely butchering the script and rewriting it or adding in loads of extra songs. It just means you've got flexibility to be able to sort of make it your own and to trim bits here and there if you need to, or to add in extra characters. And the editable script, you know, obviously really helps with that.
Should we have a look at another song? Should we have a jumping forward to...
Yeah, so the play goes backwards and forwards basically between Sherlock Holmes and Watson and then Cinderella, and then the prince and the king and the queen and the princess, and Holmes and Watson are in disguise, and you've got the ugly sisters being unpleasant to Cinderella.
Is it worth a little bit of ugly?
Ugly, yes.
Yeah. So there's a song that you can either sing perhaps with two groups, or if you've got two particularly strong characters playing the ugly sisters, you can have them sing the song. It's they're effective. They have a love for each other, the sisters, but like many siblings, there's a rivalry and they like to sort of poke fun at each other, and this song sort of exploits that. It's a very funny song. When we recorded it, we had two sisters come in to play the characters and to sing the parts. They loved it. So just have a little listen to Ugly.
This is based on me and Matt, obviously.
Ugly on the outside, ugly on the inside, ugly as the day that you were born. It's like you're a donkey, face so very wonky, nose that gets mistaken for a horn. Creepy like a spider, makeup will not hide you, spotty like the craters on the moon. Dressed up like a nitwit, smelly, sweaty armpits, hair all over like you're a baboon. Sister, sister, sometimes you get mistaken for a mister. Sister, sister, you're 1 in 20 million, yes you are.
So that song's a lot of fun. The children are going to they'll love it. The parents will love it. And you know it all contributes to a successful show.
Yeah.
So what happens next? That song, that's the beginning of Act 2, isn't it?
Yeah. If you have an interval, that's the beginning of Act 2, and then there's all manner of shenanigans involving the glass slipper and a fake glass slipper, and it's all very farcical and very silly. But the key thing with that is read the stage directions really carefully. Don't do that thing where you skip over the stage directions thinking that they don't really need to be looked at. For the first scene of Act 2, they absolutely are vital and really useful and very simple if you follow the stage directions in terms of how to do it.
So what else do you get in the book? Because our books are not like some of our, should we say, competitors. We try and give you as much information as possible to make staging the musical as easy as possible. So Tom, who's directed numerous plays, both in primary and secondary, and also at the Edinburgh Fringe, has included the kind of charts and
I mean the stuff that I think will be most useful are things like what happens.
Run up.
What happens in each scene, which is always useful to know for the cast as well as for the director. Which characters are in each scene, which from a rehearsal perspective is highly useful. And we have got plenty of staging guidelines and ideas, including a big old one about the prologue, to make that nice and easy. We've got song notes for each of the songs to help out with the rehearsal of those. This is probably a key thing. how to adapt for a smaller cast and for a larger cast, and a note on the edible script, you know, because, and let's face it, how many schools or theatre groups have exactly the right number of people for the number of parts? It just doesn't happen. One other thing which I think is quite useful from a casting perspective is just when you give the number of lines that each character has, so that shows how spread out they are.
But also the description of the character. We had a school phone up this week who had staged Pantastic last year and had just decided to stage Dr. Dolittle, and a small school of 40 children in the whole school. And they said one of the things that made the children feel valued was that there was a description of each character, telling them who they were going to be, the characteristics of that character, so that whether you had sort of 5 lines or you had 50 lines, you felt valued and important within that production. So again, something I think when you give out the parts, really, really good to let each person have that description of their character, so that they can really inhabit the part.
And on the rare occasions where, you know, there may be a few characters who haven't got names or who are just part of the ensemble, then I just think children love to have a character with a name. So just make up some names, and we give some guidelines of how to make up what sort of names might work for the different groups. I think the children love that.
Should we play another song?
Should we play one more? Let's play All the People. This is another big, so this is at the market stall, second half, and Dr. Watson, dressed as a female chef in disguise, goes to the market to buy some supplies for the castle, and when he's there, all the people sing this song, and then the major domo, the prince's sort of right-hand man, comes along with the glass slipper, tries it on Watson's foot, and it fits because it's a fake glass slipper, and then he says to Watson, "Will you marry the prince?" And Watson goes,
"Yes, well,
yes, I will."
Yes, I will.
But let's have because why not?
Nice up-tempo.
All of the people, living underneath the same sky. Some will even share our name. All the people, side by side.
Nice strong beat.
All the people, every day of the day.
It's a South American
kind of way. All of the people, side by side.
We could get up and dance now, just sort of chase around.
Why don't you dance first and I'll join you just after?
Everybody live in unity. Everybody, our community. Everybody live together.
Okay.
There we go.
So hopefully that gives a flavour of the show. Yeah. You know, if you're putting it on, if you're struggling at all with any elements of it, just give us a call or drop us an email.
Absolutely. We are here to help. We're only a small company, so there's a reasonable chance you'll either speak to Tom or myself, or one of our team of Oompa Loompas. They're like Oompa Loompas, obviously. Oompa Loompas are trademarked to Roald Dahl, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So they're not.
We don't actually have Oompa Loompas.
No, we don't. And this is the first of lots of. Don't we? I think. I thought they were. What are they?
We're just small.
This is the first of a few videos. So if you'd enjoyed this, we're going to be talking about some of our other shows, tips on singing, tips on staging, and we've got some really interesting guests coming to talk to us from the world of Stagecoach and Sing Up and actors who you will know. We're also going to
teachers as well.
Teachers are going to come along. We're also going to have a slightly more interesting stage set, aren't we? With various things at the moment.
I'm sure that'll make
just for anybody that wants to. These are by an artist called Elis, so just no need to write in and ask. And that picture's by someone called Pure Evil. Nasty. But they're all the pictures that we don't actually want in the house. But it's when I say house, it's not our house because we are both married separately. You know, just to clarify that will equally.
Not that it would matter in any way if we were married.
But it might be difficult to run a business.
And obviously those pictures are for sale.
Everything's for sale.
So
Yeah.
phone in with your bid.
Yeah.
Great.
Nice to see you.
Thanks
We've been
for
watching
watching.
Matt and Tom from the School Musicals Company, and we will see you again.